Let's learn about constructors for each class in Java. Hello everyone, this is Ali Reza. Welcome to the Mentor Code Lab. In previous episode, we talked about classes and objects in Java. And we mentioned that sometimes we don't want to repeat ourselves over and over. Constructors are methods that sit inside the class and has a very special behavior. For making a constructor, you would give it an accessibility. Most of the time it's public, sometimes it's protected. We will talk about protected later. Let's say that it's public. And instead of the return type of void or some other return type, we drop the return type because constructor has nothing to return. It's just initializing this class's instance. By the way, if you didn't understand what I said, this object is a new instance of human type. So whenever we are creating a new instance, we want to initialize it with some values or maybe some functionality being initialized. This is the main job of the constructor. So after giving the accessibility, you just call the class name and put some parentheses. And this is called parameterless constructor, means that it doesn't accept any parameters. For example, here we can say health equals to 100. Doing so will let us drop these two lines. If I run the application now, you will still get 100 for Joe's health because we initialized every human instance with the health of 100. However, we can have constructors that accept parameters. For example, we can accept the age, we can accept the health, and we can accept the strength. And here we say this.age equals to age. What does it mean? This is a keyword, means that the instance that we are generating, the instance that we are working with. So this keyword is referring to the instance in memory, not the base class in program. So we say, hey, we have an instance in memory that we are working on it. It has an age, assign a value to it, and the value is the parameter that we sent in. Normally, you use this keyword when the attribute and the param name is the same. Because if I drop it and say health equals to health, you will get a warning that says variable is already assigned to this value. What does it mean? It means that he is referring to the parameter health, not the health inside the class. And he's saying that, hey, health had already been defined with a value and you're assigning the same value to itself. That doesn't make sense. However, if we use the keyword this, now the program understands, okay, you want to assign the parameter to the attribute. I understand it now. So don't forget, whenever your parameter and the attribute is named the same, you have to use the keyword. Now we have two constructors, one parameterless and one with parameters. Let's take a look at them. When we say Joe equals new human, we are using the parameterless constructor. So we don't have age or strength. However, he has the health of 100 because we already assigned 100 to it. In this case, for Alice, we will say that the age is 24. The health, as you see in the pop-up hint, we are now working on health, is 100, and the strength is 80. Now we can drop this section. Of course, we could accept another parameter like a string name wherever we want to and give the name in the construction. This is the construction, by the way. But this is our example. I know that you can't see the dark blue colors and it's intentional because I didn't want you to type them. The dark blue words that you may not see very clearly inside the video are hints shown to you by IntelliJ IDEA's settings. It's the name of the parameter. In constructor, we name it age, health, and strength. Here we see age for the first, age colon 24. health colon 100, strength colon 80. You don't need to type this age colon. If you type it, actually, you will get an error inside program. For example, if I type age colon, you see it's red and the blue color is gone because the program doesn't understand this syntax. The dark blue is a visual hint from your programming interface shown to you so that you know, okay, the 24 was the age, 100 was the health, and etc. This is called parameterized constructor. Sometimes we have something that needs to be valued even if we don't give any parameters and we don't want it to happen inside constructor. Especially this can help inside Minecraft mod development if we use the keyword static. Notice I just used curly braces here. No parentheses, no class name, nothing. Here I say name equals to blah. Now you notice that name is not recognized. It says non-static field name. Let's make a static field. If we say public static, I don't know, integer, and we call it inventory count. And let's make it final. And I will talk about this final keyword right now. Notice that I used upper cases because it's static. It is a coding convention that became standard between programmers. Whenever you are defining an attribute that is static, use uppercase keywords and underline between the words. However, I made it final. The final is a special keyword here, means that I can't change the number. So either I have to give the value here, or now I can say that inventory count equals 10 and the error is gone. Why is the error gone? Because static block inside the class is a very special thing. Whenever you call the class itself, it doesn't matter if you are making a new instance or calling a static method on it. We will talk about the static methods on objects later. It doesn't matter. The moment you call the class itself, the static block will work even before the constructor. So when the program is trying to execute this code, he will execute the static even before executing the new here. So the moment he sees that you are working with this class, it will come and call this static part. And then he looks back to see what you want to do with this class. This is a very special type of initializing your static values. Remember, you are working with the static keyword here, so everything that sits inside here needs to be static. What is the meaning of a static? What is the difference between this static and these guys? If I come back here to my example, take note that I can say Joe dot, but I don't see inventory size. Why is that? Isn't Joe a human? Yes, it is a type of human. And human had this inventory count. So why can't I read it properly? Why do you get errors here? It says not a statement. Introduce local variable. Okay, I will say int I equals to that. Now I get a warning instead of an error and says static member human.inventory count accessed via instance reference. Access static blah via class human reference. Basically, the error says that you have an instance of human type and you are calling something that is static from that instance. However, this thing being static is accessible directly from the class type. So you don't need to access it from instances. You can access it directly from the class type itself. This is the meaning of a static attribute. So this is a static initialization. This is a static attribute. And this is how we access static attributes from a class type. Directly, we call it from the class type, not instances. Now we can talk about static methods. Notice that our head template from IntelliJ IDEA's project creation gave us this class main and the public static void main. This was a method, but it is static. Now let's make a static method inside human. We say public static. That returns a float and we call it calculate distance. Human as a parameter and we call enemy. And let's return 0 for time being so that it doesn't bother us. I had done two things here. First, the method became static. And second, I got a parameter of type human here. So there is no restriction doing it. You can have any type of object as parameter. And here I'm asking for another instance of human as the parameter. To calculate the distance, because it's static, we make two. The goal here is that regardless of instances, we have a helper method that we can calculate the distance between two humans here. The way we use it is that we say the class human, notice that we have the static integer and the static method now. Calculate distance between two instances, Joe and Alice. Float distance equals to. So basically, we called a static method of the class to do some logic for us on two instances of the same class. This is a static call to a static method. These are instances. And of course, if we had done proper programming for the distance, now we could print the distance out. The things that I described in this video, the static attribute, the static initialization code, static methods are really important. For example, let's say that we have public static not final, human, call it Joe, and public static human, call it Alice. And I want to have a public static that returns nothing, and we call it register player friends. Here, now I can say I will take this whole thing from here, inside here, and this whole thing, actually, I need this part too. So we say Joe equals to new human, and we call this part from here again at the end. Now in main, I can get rid of all of this. Instead of Joe here, now I have a static instance here. So I can say human.joe, and it will work. And here we can say human.alice, and that will work. I just created two instances of this class as static members of the same class. I have a static method that will initialize them. However, it's grayed out because we didn't call it. If I run the program right now, you will get something really nasty. Null point exception. This is one of the nasty errors that you will see eventually in your life as programmer. What does it mean? It means that something that you try to use has nothing in it. Here, of course, I defined Joe to be human, but I didn't create an instance for the Joe or Alice. This is just the definition, not the creation. This part and this part are the creations, and I'm not calling it. So before system.outprint, because this null point exception is referring to main Java line 6, and if I go back, this was line 6. Basically, he was saying that, okay, I go into human, I find Joe, give me the health. Wait a minute, we didn't initialize Joe. Joe has nothing in it, and that is the null point exception. So we have to define them. Human dot register player friends. And now we are calling a static method on human at the start of program. This method will be called and it will initialize Joe, it will initialize Alice, and from here on forward, Joe and Alice has values. If you notice, the register player friends is still grayed out. It's not important. The reason is that the IntelliSense sometimes is derpy. However, if I run the application right now, you get Joe's health as 100. And basically, this is the usage of static methods. Either you have some helper functional methods for doing some logic, some calculation, or you are defining some static definitions and initializing them. This second example will happen in Minecraft modding over and over and over. For example, when we are defining our items, we are defining static instances of items. Then we will have a static method for registering those items, and we will go back to our main class and call the registry or register or whatever you name it, create the instances. If you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and turn on that bell so that when I publish a new video, you will get informed. Have fun, everyone. Bye.